Okay, B'Shem Hashem. So it says that they saw Rebbe was Mishamish Bebigdo. In order to, it's considered unclean to smash a bug that's biting you with your bare hands. You have to kill it and throw it off of you with your clothing, not directly touch the bug. That's what they saw Rebbe do, besides seeing him sneeze, yawn, and burp. If by accident his talit fell off of him in the middle of davening, and this is actually a fascinating halacha in Shulchan Aruch, if your talit falls off of you, if it just slips a little bit off, you're allowed to readjust it in the middle of davening. But if it totally falls off of you, it's considered an interruption, and it's not considered disrespect. Just let it stay on the floor till you say Oseh Shalom, then you could rewrap yourself. Santuro. When he would yawn, he would cover his hand with it. Rav Chaim Kanievsky writes in his Sefer Orchos Yosher, a lot of people are not familiar. That's why it's so important to learn the Daf Yomi every cycle, even if you learned it already 10 times, because we become accustomed to prayer. All these halachas apply. You're not allowed to yawn while you're praying, because it's a symbol that it's boring, God forbid, and you'd rather be sleeping. That's why it's better to control yourself from yawning, but if you need to yawn in the middle of davening, you definitely have to cover your mouth to not disrespect the prayers, chas v'shalom. Gemara asks, Meitvei hamashmiya kolo b'tfilato. They said, how could Rebbe pray out loud? But it says that if you pray very loud in the silent prayer, hareze miktane emuna, you have little faith, because you're showing, God forbid, that God can't hear your silent prayer. And we know the silent Amidah, we had this in the DAF a few days ago, you're not allowed, you have to say it a bare minimum, only your own ears could hear it. You shouldn't say it so loud that your neighbor could hear it. Hamagbiya kolo betfilato, if you yell during davening, hareze minigviya sheker, you're like a false prophet. Hamanik umafik betfilato, hareze migase ruach. If you yawn or burp, it's like you're a Baal Gaiva, you're haughty. Hamit atesh betfilato siman la'alo. If you sneeze during your prayer, it's a bad omen, bad sign for you. V'yesh omrim nikar shehu mechuar, and some say it shows you're disgusting. Harak betfilato, if you spit during your prayer, kilu rak b'fnei hamelech, it's also disgraceful. It's like spitting in front of the king. You're not allowed to do that. So Gemara says, Bishlei mamagig magigumafik, it's understandable, yawning and burping. Lokashia, kan laonso. If you do it by accident, that's what Rebbe did. He had no control for it. Kan leritzono, but if you're able to stop it and you keep on doing it, it shows that you're Baal Gaiva and you have no respect to God. Ela mitatesh amitatesh kashya. How could Rebbe sneeze? But sneezing is not under your control. Gemara says, mitatesh nami lokashya. The sneezing is also not a contradiction, how Rebbe could do it. Kan milamala, some say one is by your mouth if you sneeze. Kan milamata, if you pass gas, or some people say you sneeze in such a loud way that you disturb, like it's like a hurricane, and you disturb everybody's prayer, that's a bad sign. Damar Rav Zera, ha milta iblole beri Rav Huna v'tiklili kol ha'ai talmida. He says, I learned this while I was in the yeshiva of Rav Hamnuna, and it's the most precious lesson I ever learned from him. Hamitashet betfilaso siman yafelo, keshem she'oseh lachag nuach milamata Kach osin lo nachat ruach milamala. Just like when you sneeze, you get rid of, it says when you sneeze, it's a good sign for you. The same way that when you sneeze, you're getting rid of your, excess mucus, and you're becoming comfortable. The same way they're making you comfortable. God is happy with you. And moving right along, Ella raka rokashi. How could Rebbe spit? It says it's forbidden to spit. It's like disrespectful. Gemara says roka rok nami lo kafsha. Efshir kid Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda hamod betfilah v'nizam lo rok mavilu betilato. What Rebbe did is, if you have to spit and you can't control it, you spit into your handkerchief or into your side of your coat. And if it's a beautiful piece of clothing, suit, that you don't want it to get disgusting, v'im talit na'ehu, and you don't want it to get it dirty, mavliya bar fisikaso, you could do it into your turban. Ravina Habekai Achar Ravashi. Ravina was walking beside his colleague Ravashi. Nizdan lo rok afitka lachore. Ravashi spit behind him, not into his turban, not into his clothing. So Amarle, Ravina asked his colleague Ravashi, Lo savar mar laude Rabbi Yehuda, don't you hold of Rabbi Yehuda that says you have to spit into your clothing or turban? Mavliya b'arfsikatso Amarle anina daita. He said, I'm an istinus, I'm very sensitive. If it goes into my clothing or turban, I'm going to be disgusted. So for me, it's okay to spit not in front of me but behind me. Gemara goes, somebody that yells during davening, especially the silent prayer, says it loudly, it has small faith in God, because he believes God is chas v'shalom deaf. He can't hear your silent prayer. Amar Ravuna lo shanu ela sheyachol lekaven et libo b'lachash, aval eno yachol lekaven libo b'lachash muter. He says this only applies halacha if you can't have concentration. But if you cannot have concentration, you are allowed to pray a little bit loudly to increase your concentration, even during the silent prayer. V'hani mili biyachid aval b'sibur atar lemitra sibura. But that's only if you're davening in private. If you're davening with a minyan and you start praying loudly while everybody else is silent, you're not allowed to, because you're going to be disturbing the public. You become a public nuisance. Rabbi Abba Hama mishtamet minei Rav Yehuda. Rav Abba would avoid Rabbi Yehuda because he wanted to move to Israel. Damar and Rav Yehuda was against that. Damar Rav Yehuda kol ha'olam mibavel eretz Yisrael over ba'aseh. Rav Yehuda said you're going against one of the commandments of the prophets if you move from Babylonia, which was where all the yeshivas were, to Israel, which was desolate. Shenemar Bavla Yavo b'shama yad pokti etchen neum Hashem. You have to stay in Babylonia until Mashiach comes. So that's why Rabbi Abba would avoid Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda was against him moving to Israel. Amar Rabbi Abba Azal v'ishma minei mila beit vada. He said, before I go to Israel, let me learn something from him while I'm standing outside of the Bet Midrash study hall, so I don't come eye to eye with him. V'hadar etza, and then I'll go out and move to Israel. Azal ashkechei l'tana dekama de Rav Yehuda. He saw that there was a Tana teaching in front of Rav Yehuda. Haya omed betfilah min dateh shesh. If somebody was in the middle of prayer and he passed gas, mamtin ad sheyichleh ruach, you're not allowed to continue praying till the smell goes away, which is actually the halacha. V'chozer u'mitpalel. Then you continue with your prayer. When there's a foul smell, you're not allowed to continue praying. Some people say no. when you want to, if you're about to pass gas, you have to go back 8 feet from where you were standing, then pass the gas, then come back to where you were standing and make sure that it doesn't smell anymore. The Omer, and before you continue your prayer, this is actually halacha, very interestingly enough, even though the minhag is not to do it, Ribono shel olam, you excuse yourself from passing gas in the middle of davening. You say, God, Yatzartu nekavim nekavim chalulim chalulim. God, you made us with holes and crevices. Galui v'yadua lefanecha chavatenu chayinu. You know how ashamed and embarrassed we are from you during our life. Uve'achatenu rimav v'tolah. And in the end, we're going to become dust and worms. We're going to be devoured by the worms. Umatchil mimakom shepasak. And then you could say this even in the middle of davening. Then you go continue your prayer from where you left off. So Rabbi Abba said, Amar le Rabbi le ilu lo ba'ati ela lishma zeh dvar daya. He said it was worth it for me to come hear this halacha, which I didn't know. It was worthwhile. So actually the Shulchan Aruch does say that if you do want to pass gas and you really can't control yourself, then you should move away from where you were davening 4 amot, like 8 feet, then let it go. Then you say that prayer of Ribono shel olam, forgive me. Then you go back to before your original place where you were standing, and then you go ahead and continue praying. The Ramah says if you're, that's only in private. In public, it's embarrassing, so you don't need to do that. Gemara says right before the widest of lines, Tanu Rabbanan, Haya Yashen betalito v'eno yachol la'atzi et rosho mipnei hasina chotzetz betalito al savoro kriyat shema. If somebody, again, is sleeping, he didn't have pajamas on, and it's very cold, he can't stick out his head, for that to cause a separation between him and his nude body, because it's too cold, so what should you do? Wrap around something around your neck, your talit katan, or some clothing, and then you could read Shema. Yesh omrim al libo. Some say no, you have to wrap it around your waist. V'tanaka mahare. But according to the first opinion, hare liboro et ha'eva. According to the first opinion, your heart should not be on seeing your private part. There should be a separation. That's why some people have a tradition to wear belts, because we don't want to do there should be a separation. So Gemara says, wide lines, kesavar liboro et ha'eva mutar. His opinion is that such a thing is permissible. Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav Yochanan HaMelech, Mevot Tenefunot Mechda Pi, V'kor Kriyat Shema. If somebody was walking through a filthy place and he was saying Shema, he doesn't need to interrupt his Shema. If he was in his course of walking and saying Shema, he just puts his hand over his mouth and nose and he could say Shema. Amar Rav Chisda Halokim, I swear, Im Amra li Rav Yochanan bepume, if Rav Yochanan would tell me this, lo saitele, I wouldn't listen to him. Ekadami Amar Rav Barchan Amar Rav Yosha ben Lakish HaMelech ben Fonot Mantiach Yado al Peni v'kor Kriyat Shema. Some say Rabbi Shua ben Levi said that if you come to a filthy place that has bad smelling waste or feces, you don't need to stop saying Shema, because when you started saying it, it was a clean area. You just put your hand over your nose and mouth. And Amar le Rav Chisda Elokim, Im Amar li Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi bepuma lo saitele. Rav Chisda says, I swear to God, Even if Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi would have told me this personally, I don't listen to him, because it's not appropriate to say praise God where it smells filthy. Gemara says, Umi amar le Rabbi Huna hachi, did Rabbi Huna really say such a thing? V'amar Rav Huna, Talmid Chacham asur lo la'amod b'makom hanun tenefet. This is such a big musar, source of Jewish ethics. Rav Huna says that Talmid Chacham should never stand in a place that smells bad, because a Torah scholar is always entrenched and engulfed in the study of Torah. He's constantly contemplating about it. He can't stay even a second without thinking Torah. And it's forbidden to think about Torah in a dirty place. So therefore, Gemara says, Lo kasha, kan be'omed, kan ba'mahalech. Everybody will agree that you can't learn Torah and think about Torah and say the Shema if you're standing in a place that smells bad. But the idea, as the poskim explain, and this is not the halacha, is that since you're walking away from it, it would be allowed. Gemara says, Umi amar Rabbi Yochanan hachi v'amar Rabbi Barchana amar Rabbi Yochanan b'chol makom mutar lahal b'divrei Torah chutz mibet hamerchas u'b'dat kisei. Did Rabbi Yochanan really say you could say Shema in a filthy, smelling, bad place? But he says it's forbidden to think about Torah everywhere besides a bathroom and a bathhouse. If you say there's a difference whether standing in a bathhouse or bathroom or walking through one, Rabbi Ava was following Rabbi Yochanan. He saw when Rabbi Yochanan would get to the dirty, filthy, garbage places, he would stop saying Shema. Amar le Rabbi Yochanan lehechen hadar. Now that I interrupted saying Shema, where do I go back to when I want to continue saying? Amar le im shaita kedei legmor kula chozer l'rosh. He said if you interrupted it so long that it takes you to read the entire Shema from beginning to end, that's how long your interruption was. You have to go back and say the Shema from the beginning. So Gemara says this is a contradiction. Hachi amar le lididi lo svarali. He says, according to me, it's not a problem. You don't need to interrupt your Shema. If you're not standing there, you're continuing to walk through the smelling bad place, just put your hand over your mouth. But Hachi kamar ledidi lo svarali ledidach de svaralach im shaita kelig merlu kulach ozel rosh. So it says. So, anyways, it says that according to you, it's only a problem, but according to me, it's not a problem. According to you, if you interrupt it so long that it takes to say the entire Shema, you have to go back to the beginning. Tanya kavate de Rabbi Huna, Tanya kavate de Rav Chisda. We learned one braita that supports Rav Huna's opinion that you're allowed to say Shema if you're walking through filthy places, and one like Rav Chisda that says no, you have to interrupt. You're not allowed to say your Shema there. Tanya kavate de Rav Huna haya mehalech. As long as you put your hand over your mouth, if you're walking through filthy places, yikra kriyat Shema. You could still say the Shema. Tanya kavate de Rav Chisda. We learned like Rav Chisda, haya mehalech b'mavot ha'metunafot lo yikra kriyat Shema. V'lo od ela she'im haya koreh bal posek. Definitely, if you cannot start saying Shema if you're walking through a bad-smelling, filthy place. And even if you started saying Shema in a clean place, in a pure place that didn't have any smell, but now you got to a foul, filthy-smelling place, you need to stop saying the Shema. And if you look at Tosfot, the Rabbeinu Hanan el follows the opinion of Rav Chisda, and that's how the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch go with. So we have to be extra careful if we do ever come to a place that has a foul smell, and we were saying Shema on the way to shul. Like a lot of shuls, you have to say Shema before the minyan, especially in the winters, or even in the summers, because they start davening 9 or 9:30, and the Zman of Shema, of Magen Avram especially, is before that. But you have to be careful. If the halacha is, if you get to a place that smells bad, you have to interrupt your Shema. Don't say it till you get away from the bad smell, and then you continue saying it. Even though the Rif, parenthetically, does paskin like Rav Huna. But the halacha is not like the Rif, like the Alfasi. In this case, the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch paskin like Rav Chisda. Lo pasak mai. Let's say you didn't interrupt saying your Shema during the foul-smelling place. What's the punishment? Amar Rav Mishaya bar Rav Shua, Breder Rav Shua ben Levi, Allah hakatuv omer, gam ani natati lachem chukim lo tovim u'shpatim lo yichyu bahem. It's like God says, I gave you not good laws. The laws, you don't respect them, to say that you have to do them in a state of purity, not where it smells bad. Rabasi Amar Have Moshve Havon Mechavli Ashav. It's like you're treating the mitzvot as nonsense. With Chas v'Shalom, it's not. It's something holy, and it's not appropriate to say the words of the Shema somewhere that smells bad. Rav Advar Rav Amar Miyacha Ki Dvar Hashem Baza Ve'im. You are disgracing the word of God. Ve'im Pasak Mascharo. If you do interrupt your Shema, what's the reward? Amar Rav Avau Allah Vakatuv Omer Dvar Hazeh Tarichun Yamim. If you do interrupt the Shema, b'davar hazeh tarichun yamim, you're going to get a long life. Amar Rav Huda, Haya talito chogoral matnav mutar likrot kriyat Shema. If you have a belt around you, even though you have no shirt on, you're allowed to say Shema. And that's the halacha. Tanya nami hachi, Haya talito shel beged v'shel or v'shel sak chagural matnav mutar likrot Shema. Aval letfilat shechaseh libo. If you only have pants on with a belt or elastic, then you're allowed to say the Shema. But to pray in front of God, it's talking to the king. Rashi says that obviously you're not allowed to do unless you put your shirt on.